Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Blokees Galaxy version episode 2. So this is the second wave of these little buildable model kit figures. Now I'll be honest, I don't know how I'm supposed to say the name of this company. Is it Blokees? Is it Blocks? Is it Blokees? Blokes? I really don't know. The website I bought them from put B-L-O-K-S, so I thought it was Blocks. But then I've seen a lot of other people call it B-L-O-K-E-E-S, which I think is correct. So is that Blokees? I'm not 100% sure. But in any case, I really like the first wave of figures. So now I have the second wave here. You can see we're getting both versions of Grimlock, Dino Mode and Robot Mode. We're getting Inferno and Grapple, and we're getting Cliff Jumper. And then we have Starscream, and then we have two of the Constructicons. So we have Long Haul, and I think that's Mixmaster. And then there's this, like, shattered glass version of Prime looming here in the background. So I don't know if he's supposed to be a Decepticon or an Autobot. He's kind of, like, right in the middle here. But as we see with the first wave, we have a very Autobot-heavy assortment and not so many Decepticons. But at least we're getting a couple of them. I think Starscream, you know, is an obvious choice with the first two Seekers being in the first wave. I think they wanted to have like a very prominent Decepticon in each wave. It's why we had Megatron in the first one, and they saved Starscream for over here. Plus, it would be kind of boring if you just had, you know, Megatron and then three of the same one. So I think they wanted to differentiate it up a little bit. But I'm really excited for the Constructicons. I think they look fantastic. I'm also very interested to see how the Dino Mode of Grimlock is going to turn out, because it's a very different build than the other figures. They all kind of share similar, you know, shoulder joints and elbow joints and knees and things like that. But he should be really original, so we'll see how that goes. So really nice picture here on the front. Down here you can see the assortment. So basically it's just like the first one, where we should get an assortment of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it does look like it is a Shattered Glass Prime. We can see that down here. So there should be, you know, a full assortment in each box, but I guess the difference is that there's a possible different version of Grimlock. So most of the time you'll get the normal version, and I don't really know what the different version is. It's in silhouette there, and it looks a little blockier, and it has like maybe an effect piece for the mouth or something, so I'm not 100% sure. But rest of the box is pretty standard here, just kind of having the logo and the Transformers there. Nothing really going on the back or the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead, get these out of the box, get these built, and we'll take a closer look. So here are the 9 figures out of the packaging. As you can probably tell, I did just get the regular version of the Dino Mode of Grimlock, as I expected. And then also I wanted to talk quick about what I'm assuming are supposed to be Energon cubes. Honestly, they just kind of look like ice cubes to me more than anything. But you got 3 of them with the Dino Mode of Grimlock, and then 1 randomly with Cliff Jumper. I mean, they're okay. You know, they're nice, solid plastic. But I kind of wish they were tinted pink instead of just being clear. I guess maybe you could pretend that they are like already spent Energon cubes that they've already used up. But yeah, so there's not much to these. They do have a little bit of detail molded in, but just kind of a random weird addition. So I'm just going to put them off to the side, and we will get into these figures here. We'll start with, I guess we'll start with Dino Mode Grimlock. So he doesn't quite fit on the base because he's got a wider stance than most of the other figures, because his legs are kind of connected to what would be the arms. So it's kind of funny. If I guess I should bring over the Robot Mode of Grimlock at the same time, because a lot of the pieces are reused. You can see that the chest piece is exactly the same. So you actually build the chest exactly the same as the Robot Mode. And then you have this tail piece. That's a couple pieces that you put together, and then that pegs into where the waist would actually peg in. And then the arms are almost identical as well, except for the printing here on the forearms. And then you have these like smaller T-Rex legs that would plug into where the fists normally would go. And then this section up here is actually the exact same pieces. So this is the same, only this one doesn't have the yellow, like the yellow paint here is not included because it's covered up. But it's the same piece here. These pieces are actually the same, which is why you can see he's got the 2 like parts of a peg there split in half. Because how this works is, and you can actually see this piece here on the back where it's not painted. So this piece is the same, these 2 pieces are the same, but instead of having them open like they're on the back here, you actually combine them together, and then you have a full peg with these two pieces together, and that's how the neck assembly attaches. So really, I would say the torso, the arms, and this section here are the same on both. It's just from the like head and yellow neck section and the 2 feet and the tail that are really different. So I thought that was kind of interesting, the way that they built these and shared some of the pieces. I mean, it's definitely a good cost-cutting measure, so I thought that was kind of smart. The way this guy works, you have the tail, which kind of pegs in. It doesn't really have a swivel point up here, even though it probably could. But it does have a little bit of movement here on the bottom. So it can kind of slide from side to side. It's really tight, I will say, because of the way it pegs in. But you can swivel that tail from side to side a little bit there. The arms, this is going to be your standard elbow joint, your standard shoulder joint, because it's the exact same connection there. So you have a little bit of up and down, you have a little bit of front to back. Of course, you have the ball joint here in the shoulder. You have the what would have been the bicep swivel for the robot. Now, they tell you to put the elbows in the normal way that you would for the robot mode. Personally, I think it makes more sense to spin these around and then spin these around so that he can have normal knee joints like a T-Rex would have. So the directions do tell you to put them together like this because that's how the elbows would be. But I don't think that makes sense for the T-Rex mode, so I'm actually going to switch these around. And it's simple enough to do. You can kind of give him proper knee joints. You have a ball joint here where the arm's connected, and then the hand is on a ball joint as well. The little head is adorable. I absolutely love this. So he's got a piece of blue plastic in there for the eye. Then the mouth can open and close, and you can see that there's a little connection point there for like an effect piece. You can also rotate this up and down. So the variant of Grimlock is like a version of Grimlock from the episode Grimlock's New Brain, where he gets super intelligence and then uses that to create the Technobots. So it's a different head with a kind of molded headpiece on, like what he uses to transfer his intelligence to Computron. I believe the eyes are red instead of blue. And then it does come with an effect piece, like a little fire blast that you can actually peg into that spot there inside the mouth. So I believe those are the only differences. You also have a ball joint here because this is actually the stalk that the head would normally attach to. But this whole section now is attached to that ball joint instead. So you have a little bit of a ab crunch, side to side, kind of some fluid motion there. But yeah, he's really cool. I like him a lot. And it's kind of funny because you could almost transform him. Like if I took this off, this is his gun. I don't know why they included the gun. I guess it just made sense for them with the way the sprues were. But this is his gun. It's the same that the robot mode has, and they just have you peg it onto the back here. But you can see the connection point here. So if I actually popped this off, you can see inside here the connection. So if I actually took the head off, and you can see that just pegs on, this would actually open if I unpegged this. And then I could peg this onto the back here, almost like I'm turning him into robot mode. So it almost has a transformation aspect. Not really, because obviously he doesn't have any legs. The tail just pegs into where you would normally peg the waist and the hips and everything into. So it's kind of interesting. Like I said, it's almost kind of got, you know, a lot of that transformation aspect because a lot of the pieces are reused. And then this would be where the head would normally go, but instead now that just pegs onto there, and then you just peg this onto the peg that's been formed. So just kind of interesting how they did it. But he looks good, honestly. I think the proportions are good. I think it's, you know, nice scale and everything. I absolutely love the head. I think that's really, really cool. I'm honestly kind of happy I got the normal version because I just think it looks better than the Grimlock's New Brain version. And I've always been a big fan of the Dinobots having the blue eyes instead of the red. I just think that looks cooler. But yeah, very fun. I'll go ahead and put the gun back on here. Now again, because of this, I can't really fit him on the base because I'd have to really kind of... I mean, I guess I technically could if I really pushed his legs in. But it's easy enough to just kind of attach only one of them and just have the other one kind of sit here. He's still not going to fall off or anything because the one leg attaches pretty solidly. But yeah, that's a little Dino Mode Grimlock. He's definitely a keeper. Absolutely fantastic there. We'll take a look at the robot mode of Grimlock now. Another fantastic one. This looks so good. The head is just perfect. And the way this is actually done, a lot of the figures up until this point, I think the entire first wave, they have a small part in the center that's a piece that you peg onto the ball joint, and then there's like a helmet that slides on top of it. The way Grimlock's head is built, and a few of I think the Constructicons are the same way. It's two pieces. So there's a piece in the back. There's a blue piece of plastic, that's a tongue twister, that you peg into the back, and then you peg the entire front piece on. And it came out great. That just really looks sharp. I love that. Again, I'm a fan of him having the blue visor instead of the red. I think the red is more toy accurate, but this is more cartoon accurate. And I like blue over red. Blue's my favorite color. But again, you have the ball joint here. So you can look down pretty good, look up, spin side to side, tilt side to side. Really nice range of motion there. You do have this piece on the back. Can get in the way of the shoulder articulation a little bit, but you can still utilize the butterfly joint there. You can still spin this all around, bring it up like that. You have the swivel here right above the elbow. You have the elbow joint. The fist is on a little ball joint there. You have a waist spin, which is pretty tight. Ball joint at the hip and kick really far out to the side, pretty far forward, pretty far back. You have a swivel right above the knee. Then you have the knee bend, and then you have a ball joint here for the ankle. And just really nice detailing here on the front of the legs. I think that looks great. Here on the crotch, the chest looks great. You have some detailing here on the forearm to kind of look like the front of the T-Rex feet. You even have a little bit of yellow here on the back. So just all in all, he came out great. I honestly think both modes, the T-Rex mode and the robot mode, look absolutely fantastic. He comes with a gun. I kind of wish he came with the sword. If anything, I kind of wish this version came with the sword and then this version came with the gun. That way you'd have both weapons if you wanted, and you could just take the gun from him, give it to the robot mode, and then this mode would have the sword. That way you'd have both bases covered, but I guess it was easier to just use the same piece twice, which I'm sure that, from cost measuring, that makes total sense. But yeah, just a really nice range of motion. I think everything about this guy came out fantastic. Just looks really sharp. I mean, definitely, I think the two Grimlocks are contenders for my favorite of the wave. But honestly, there are a lot of contenders for favorites here. This is a really great lineup. So next up, we'll go to one of my other contenders for favorite of the wave, and that is Cliff Jumper. It's a fairly basic design, but I just think it came out so good. The head sculpt, the helmet there looks fantastic. I love the way the chest piece has been done. That just looks really sharp. You even have some of the windows here on the back. They have a little tire piece you can peg onto the back. Now, if you don't like this look, you can pop it off. It's just pegged in there. So if you would rather him not have that, you can absolutely do that. It's completely up to you. But he just came out great. I mean, it's a simplistic design, but it looks fantastic. The dark gray or black, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's more of a gunmetal gray. The light gray, all of that. It's such a fun design. I don't know why. It's really working for me. I think he looks fantastic. So I'm definitely a big fan of Cliff Jumper. And they are going to reuse this as Bumblebee in the next wave. So we will definitely be seeing this. I don't know how much of a retool he'll get. Maybe the helmet a little bit to give him a little bit more like horns instead of... Because these are kind of like spikes, whereas Bumblebee has like true curved horns. So we'll see how that goes. But they are definitely going to make Bumblebee out of this in the next wave. So he's fantastic. Next up, we have Inferno here, which honestly, Inferno looks really good as well. I think they did a great job with him. Head sculpt looks really nice. You have the little wings here. They just peg onto the back very simply. You even have the little ladder piece here, which is movable. If I can actually get a hold of it, you can swivel it around. If for some reason you wanted it like this, you could. So I think that's nice. Otherwise, it just kind of sits mostly flush to the back there. Really nice detailing here on the chest and on the crotch. Legs are a little plain, but I feel like that's in keeping with Inferno. I think they did a good job with that. This piece is actually really neat because I can't really take it out, but what I can do is... So most of these, if not all of these, are just, there's a little connection spot there. The ball joint fits into that. What this piece does is actually fits into the 4 spaces around the ball joint. So you can see how they have the lines there, the plastic pieces. There are little cutouts, and then this piece fits into the space around that. Now, I feel like I should be able to push it in a little bit more, but I just couldn't. I tried really hard, and that's about as far as it would go in. But it still looks great. I think they did such a nice job with that, and I really like how that turned out. And if you don't want to use this, he does come with a normal fist. And of course, I should mention that all these guys have the closed fist set of hands, and then the open set of hands. I don't think I gave any of these guys an open hand, but they do all, of course, have 2 sets of hands each. The Shattered Glass Optimus also has the pointing finger, so he's got that as well. But yeah, Inferno just came out great. He looks really, really good. And then to get the most out of this mold, they have also, in this same wave, given us Grapple, who I think also came out really well done. He has got a kind of crane piece here with a little hook, and that sits there nicely as well. If for some reason you wanted this to hang around the front, you totally could. I think that works well. Head sculpt, I think, is exactly the same, just now done in yellow. The detailing is pretty similar here on the chest. And you have a little bit of detailing here on the shins that Inferno does not have. And then he comes with this little gun. I don't know. A couple of the characters in this wave have these weird little accessories. The Constructicons each have one as well, and I'll show them when we get there. But I don't know what these are supposed to be for. The directions just kind of showed them in a little spot at the bottom saying like, oh yeah, these random pieces are also included in this set. I don't know if they're supposed to build towards something in the future. Maybe it's like build a weapon, build a figure type weapon situation, or maybe it's just to give some random accessories to the set. I'm really not quite sure about that. I guess we'll have to wait and see if any more weird pieces come with Chapter 3 or Episode 3. But yeah, anyway, Grapple I think looks really good. And again, they all have the same articulation. I went over the articulation with Grimlock, but these guys all have the same articulation. And then they can pop onto the base. Very nice and simple. So yeah, he came out pretty good. And then last for the Autobots, I guess. I guess he is technically still an Autobot, only in the Shattered Glass timeline. We have Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. This was a way for them to reuse the Optimus Prime mold from Episode 1. But it came out pretty great. Honestly, the color scheme is fantastic. I love the green down here on the crotch. The way it kind of has a gradient to it. It almost looks like it's glowing, which is really well done. You can kind of see the matrix inside his chest there. All of that detailing is fantastic. The head sculpt looks great. The purple Autobot symbol. He has the gray version of the cannon here, which looks amazing. A little bit of detailing here on the forearms. Just all in all, this came out great. So I know they're just looking for... I'm honestly surprised that we got this before like a white and blue version for Ultra Magnus. I'm not upset about it, and I think Magnus might actually be in the next wave. I guess they found a way to use this mold for every wave and have an Optimus available, which I can understand. And there are a lot of good Optimus repaint possibilities out there, but they nailed it with this one. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. Now, I don't know if they're going to do many other Shattered Glass figures, or it might just be Prime, but this is a pretty great color scheme, and they did a really nice job. I'm really happy with how this turned out. But let's get into our Decepticons proper. We have Starscream. Again, we had the other 2 Seekers in the first episode. Now we have Starscream. Fantastic. I mean, the color scheme's amazing. The colors are bright. They pop. All the detailing's amazing. The wings being printed on both sides, just like the other 2 Seekers, is fantastic. You have the null rays here on the little ball joints. He also comes with a small version of Megatron here, transformed, which I think is great. And this just pops off. So this is one piece that you feed through the fist, and then this just pegs onto the top. So it's very easy to equip or remove. But yeah, it looks really great. I kind of wish they had put a little Decepticon symbol on the side. Not a big deal. It's still very recognizable as Megatron, but I think that's so cool. And obviously you could give that to any of the characters just because it came with Starscream. You could give it to Soundwave, who I believe is going to be in the next episode as well. So I think we know of Bumblebee, Magnus. Actually, I think I've seen the whole thing. It's, I think, Sideswipe, Red Alert, Bumblebee, Magnus, Soundwave, maybe another Constructicon or 2. I think that's most of the wave. I'm probably forgetting one. But yeah, this looks good. So you can give Megatron to any of the Decepticons is my point. But yeah, Starscream looks good. Really, really nicely done. I think the colors just pop. They're so vibrant. I mean, his color scheme has always been great with that classic red and blue and the gray, and just everything about him really came out absolutely fantastic. Very, very cool. Now we have to move on to the two Constructicons, which I absolutely love. These came out so good, and I hope we eventually get all 6 of them. Here we have Mixmaster. His head is put together exactly like Grimlock's, where you have a split down the center. The red eyepiece plugs into the back, and then the front of it pegs in there to the front, and it looks good. Now, the animation I remember for Mixmaster, his eyes weren't this big. I think he had kind of more normal-sized eyes, but I guess it was just easier for them to build it this way. I still think it looks incredible. All of this detailing here looks amazing. He's got his legs down here. Now, again, he comes with this weird piece. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but he can hold it there in his hand. He's got the Mixmaster drum, the cement mixer drum there on the back. This piece kind of slides on over top, and that works out really great. And then the shoulder pads have these wheels, which I think really works. Just all in all, he came out fantastic. I love this. I've always loved the color scheme for the Constructicons. The super bright green and the purple always really just worked, in my opinion. And then we have Long Haul here. Now, the cool thing about Long Haul is he's got this big piece on the back here, which is obviously the kind of front section of the dump truck. Now, the directions tell you to put it up like this. And if you like that look better, you can absolutely do that. Because some fiction has him with this over top. Some of it, I think the original cartoon had this down. But it's your call. I mean, that's the nice thing about it. You could leave it off completely. If you don't like the look of it, it just kind of clips in here, as you can see. So if you think that looks kind of ridiculous on the back there, you can take it off completely or just not attach it while you're building it. Or if you like it down like this, you can do that. Or if you like it more like this, you have that option as well. So I appreciate that. I really like the options they give you for that. The head, again, is built the same way. He's kind of got this giant piece in the back here, and I think that's to simulate the original toy, how this was like a panel that just folded into this chest section here. And so he did have kind of like a large tab on the back that the head was put onto. And he's got a great visor looking there. So it's kind of got the like nod to the original toy, but then a more animation accurate head. So it's kind of a nice balance. I also love the shoulder pads here with the big wheels. I think that works really well. Now these wheels don't spin, they just peg in, and they're just, you know, ornamental. They don't spin or anything like that, but still, all the detailing here in the chest and the abdomen and the crotch looks amazing. And I love him. I think he looks so good. And I love that you have the ability to move this around however you want to display him. So the Constructicons, again, turned out amazing. Like I said, it's really hard to pick a favorite, but both versions of Grimlock are up there. Cliff Jumper's up there. The Constructicons are up there. Starscream looks good. Honestly, it's a solid wave. It's hard to pick a favorite there. And I don't want to count out Inferno and Grapple because I think they came out perfect as well. Even Shattered Glass Prime, you know, yes, it's a repaint, but it's a really good repaint. Honestly, I really can't complain. It's a solid wave. It's hard. I'm hard pressed to pick a favorite. I'm probably leaning towards one of these two or one of these two, honestly. But again, it's difficult. They all really came out great. So just for fun, I wanted to do a couple group shots here. We have our 3 Seekers complete now, with Thundercracker and Skywarp being available in episode 1, and now Starscream from episode 2. So it's nice to fully complete the team. I think they all came out pretty great. I would still say this section here should be light gray to match Thundercracker, but other than that, the Seeker team came out pretty fantastic. And also, just for fun, here is original Optimus Prime from episode 1 alongside Shattered Glass. I always want to say Shattered Grid. That's not correct. Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. You can see that it is the same mold, but the detailing here on the chest is definitely very different because you have, like, there's some circuitry here in the windows. Here you can kind of see the matrix. At least I think that's what they're going for. The printing here on the waist is different. You can see he's got kind of a smaller print in this section where that's a little bit larger. He only has the Autobot symbol on one side, where Prime has it on both. So they went all out. I mean, yes, they are reusing a mold, but they definitely went all out with the detailing and everything. So it does feel, you know, like 2 different figures and not just a very cheap repaint. I think they really did a nice job. I think I finally remembered what the other one in the next wave is. I think it's going to be Slag. So I think there's going to be both the robot and dino mode of Slag, Bumblebee, Ultra Magnus, Sideswipe, Red Alert, 2 Constructicons, and Soundwave. I think that's the 9. So that's another really solid lineup that I'm really looking forward to. But this is a great wave. Honestly, I've been having a ton of fun with these. They're fun to build because they're not too stressful. They're very simple. Once you get into a rhythm, it's very easy to see how they all get put together because the construction is almost exactly the same, with the exception of Dino Mode Grimlock. Obviously, that was very different than the others. But yeah, these are a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying these. I hope they go for a while. Obviously, there are tons of characters they can do. I think they've kind of been in a rhythm now where they have like a new mold and do the repaint right away, kind of like we're going to see in the next one with Sideswipe and Red Alert. You know, they're getting use out of Cliff Jumper again in the next wave to do Bumblebee. We are going to get another version of Prime and Ultra Magnus. We'll get 2 new Constructicons, which will be all new. Soundwave will be all new. And then your 2 versions of Slag. So honestly, if you think about it, it's both versions of a Dinobot, a new Autobot with his repaint, a repaint of him into Bumblebee. This is going to be replaced by Soundwave. This is going to be replaced by Ultra Magnus, and then 2 new Constructicons. So there you go. That's going to be a wave assortment. I'm assuming that if they do a wave after that, it'll be probably pretty similar. If I had to guess, it'll probably be Sludge in both modes. Maybe they do. I think actually the next wave is already going to have a possibility repaint of Soundwave into Sound Blaster. I think that's like the Chase variant that you'll probably never see. The last 2 of the Constructicons, I would assume. Maybe another Autobot that it makes sense to do 2 of, like maybe Trailbreaker and Hoist, something like that. That's kind of my guess. I would love a Sunstreaker, throw Sunstreaker in there. Maybe you could even do, I would love Blaster. I would really love to see Blaster, but I was also going to say you could reuse the Prowl mold one more time to get Smokescreen. So they definitely have a lot of places they could go with this. There are obviously a lot of characters, and I would love to see more of the mini-bots. I'd love to see a Gears. I've always loved Gears. Beachcomber, I think, would look fantastic. The sky's the limit. I mean, honestly, I'm also surprised we haven't seen Hot Rod yet, because I feel like Hot Rod is such a popular character that I feel like if he's not in Wave 4, you know, he's got to be in 5. Like, it can't... It's surprising me that it's taking so long to get to Hot Rod. Unless they're trying to go in some kind of season order, but then they wouldn't give us Magnus. But then again, Shattered Glass, so maybe this is just a wild card and everything else is kind of following the way the Season 1, Season 2 character lineup. These are all just speculations on my point. But the main takeaway is these are a lot of fun. They're not that expensive, honestly. Again, I mentioned this in the last video, but I got these from a website called Joy Toy World. The shipping was free, and I think the case of 9 was around $50. So that's, you know, $5 to $6 a piece. And I think that's totally worth it. I mean, it's a great 4-inch little action figure. You know, yes, you have to put it together, but it's a really simple build. There are no stickers that you have to apply yourself. They're a lot of fun. Honestly, building them has become a lot of fun. Just throw on, you know, some TV and have something on in the background, and it's just an enjoyable, fun little build. Really not too complicated. They come out great. Really nice, tight ball joints. I really like them. I really, really like them a lot. I can't gush over them enough. I noticed I didn't do any size comparisons in this video. I did it in the last video. If you want to see something real quick, here is a 4-inch Spin Master Black Manta that I happen to have handy from the video I did yesterday. And he still doesn't want to stand. But there you go. So you can kind of get an idea. Some are a little taller than others. But and these are on stands as well. So you kind of have to think about the fact that if you put them, does anyone want to help me out here? No, they don't. So if you think about the fact that really he should be more about here, they're about the same size. So about there. Yeah, there you go. So they're 4 inches. I would say they're pretty solidly 4 inches, which is a scale I'm a big fan of. If you guys watch my channel at all, you know that's kind of my preferred scale over 6-inch stuff. So yeah, can't gush over these enough. Definitely think they're worth it. I'm having a ball with them. I saw a couple people on my last video compare these to the ones that YOLO Park is doing. Those are also a viable option. I don't have any of those. Obviously, I don't think they're out yet, so I can't really do a comparison. I've been toying with the idea of maybe getting, if I can get them singly, I don't know if they're sold as a set only, but if I could get them singly, I might get maybe like just Optimus just to do a comparison. But I really kind of like the cartoony anime style of these. Like, they're not super deformed or out of proportion or anything like that, but they just have a particular style to them that I really enjoy. And the YOLO Park ones seem a little bit like less bright and colorful, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I definitely, for me, I think I will prefer these over the YOLO Park ones, but I might, if I can get like just one of them, just to do a comparison, I might go look into that. But I really don't feel the need to buy a full set of those, because I feel like all the characters in that are already represented here. I think that wave is like Bumblebee, Optimus, Soundwave, Megatron, Starscream, and Grimlock in Dino mode, I think. I think that's the first set of 6 over there. So again, I think I'm kind of happy with these, but I'm not going to rule it out. But these are great. I really can't sing the praises of these enough. I hope this line goes on for a while, knock on wood. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you have a favorite out of this assortment? Are you looking into these? Are you going to wait for the YOLO Park ones? What do you think just in general? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.